God does so shine.
Peace and blessings, family, and welcome to Labors of Love podcast, the Fatherhood series. We are here to inspire, uplift, and enlighten. Each episode, we will be hearing from fathers sharing their perspectives and experiences on all aspects of the fatherhood journey. This evening, I have the privilege of speaking with DJ Laylo. Based out of Akron, Ohio, DJ Laylo has become an international name. He's been spinning records since 2002. From the clubs to arenas, he has turned up and turned out for his city. As an accomplished rapper, disc jockey, host, and producer, there's no limitations. Now he adds father to that list. DJ Laylo wears many hats as the owner of Speaker Leakers Worldwide, which includes films, media, marketing, and management as well. His team just wrapped up NBA All-Star Weekend, where Speaker Leakers Worldwide had a significant presence from events to broadcasting live, as well as major sponsorship from a well-known liquor brand. Thank you for joining us this evening. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. I am excited to have an old friend of mine, be a part of this conversation. So welcome, DJ Laylo, to Labors of Love.
Thank you for having me.
Indeed. So we're going to jump right into this conversation. I know we kind of spoke offline, but we're going to get into it as far as like, what were some of the messagings, especially as a male, growing up prior to becoming a father yourself, around this whole process of labor, delivery, pregnancy? What was that like for you?
Honestly, I'm just now having my first child, and I'm 46. So the message earlier probably didn't take as well as now. You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't having no kids. You know what I mean? So the message probably didn't take as well as now. But the message that I really received, I've dated or had relationships with a lot of women with kids. Because once you get to my age, you know what I mean, it's kind of hard to find a woman that doesn't have kids. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I took care of a lot of other people's kids and treated them as my own. You know what I mean? So having my first kid, you know what I mean, I wasn't used to the age or going through the 9 months with a woman. I wasn't used to, you know what I mean, a kid that young. I think the youngest kid I ever played the stepfather role to, you know what I mean, pretty much, was 3. Okay. So this stage right now is all brand new to me, you know what I mean? And the message that I get is basically they just tell me, you know what I mean? Really nobody had to tell me anything, you know what I mean? Love your kid, you know what I mean? Love everything about the process. What I didn't know that the experience of the 9 months was the tricky part, you know what I mean? Because the female that I have has she has depression. Okay. And sometimes, for a person who doesn't have depression, you don't recognize depression. You know what I mean? When somebody's going through certain situations or mood swings and stuff like that. I'm not used to that. You know what I mean? I'm used to being me, So it was definitely an experience. It was definitely a experience. But the way we got through it is you just got to have time. You know what I mean? You got to be there for the person that's going through it, you know what I mean? Because I never knew what a single mom, I could imagine what a single mom goes through, you know what I mean? And we're co-parenting. So we're doing it together. So, and it's still hard. So I could imagine what a single mom goes through as far as raising a kid on their own, and stuff like that. I'm like, Jesus, I know, just the morning wake ups and then those, like last night, he up at 4:30 in the morning trying to play, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? But you just basically really have to adjust your lifestyle to fit what's going on at the moment.
Mm-hmm. No, that's powerful. Like what you're saying as far as being present, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I think the mental health aspect is something that we don't too often speak about in any aspect, whether it's, within the family, within this pregnancy process, or even anywhere outside of that. And I think it's you know amazing that you can recognize that, and also that you can kind of hold space for that, right? Like, it might not be something that you were familiar with or used to, but just knowing that, this is a part of this experience, and I'm gonna show up, you know in any way that I can to for this woman and my child, soon to be child. So I definitely, don't want to kind of brush that over, because that is significant. And then we get into like
Right.
postpartum and on all of these things. And I think to have that support, like you speak of, single parents, mother or father, if you're doing it on your own, that village is significant. Like, you got to pull people in, because this is not a one person deal. Like, this
But
is.
I would say though, for real, people got to be a better judgment of who they have kids with or who they lie down with. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot of situations you can force, and I can't even say he should do that, but a lot of situations a woman can force a man out the door. You know what I mean? Just because they expect this, they expect that. See, I think that's where a lot of people mistake the expectations
Right.
of what should happen or how this should happen, because your parents, it happened this way with your parents, and that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen that way with you. So the expectations of what people see, or I've seen situations where as soon as the man come, here your kid. You know what I mean? Like, no, hold on. Like, everybody still need to breathe. Like, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. So it just, as a man, that's why I recognize why men fight. Like, when we say that she won't let me see my child, it's not that they don't want to see their child. They just don't want to deal with your part of it. You know what I mean? Because you might be a hassle sometimes. You got to let things work out the way they're supposed to work out, or the way the world wants them to work out. You can't just force a person to be living like she should be Cinderella, because that's what you've seen growing up, or maybe you were treated like that. You know what I mean? So I think that's where a lot of problems come in with people and their departures between relationships when they have kids. But never, never, never use your kid as one of those tools.
Oh, yes. And that, again, another excellent point in reference to, like, just the original thought of, be very mindful of who you choose to have children with.
Yeah.
Because the relationship never ends, right? So regardless if it works out or not, you have children now. So either it's going to evolve into something positive, or it's just going to be an unpleasant situation, but y'all are still connected because of these children. So I
Right.
think is, something that definitely needs to be driven home. But foundationally, relationships thrive with communication, and that idea of the fantasy in your head of what things are supposed to be like, and then the reality hits and it don't feel the same as what you imagine. Like, how do you pivot? How do you communicate what those needs are? How do you get realistic about those needs too, right? Like, you having these
Right.
unrealistic expectations, how does that work? So I definitely appreciate all of those points. And just getting back to, you know the aspect of where you are in your current transition. How old is your son right now? Because he's still,
He'll be 7 months on the 26th.
and he is adorable. So just even those aspects of sleep deprivation. How much sleep are you getting? How is that impact
Woo!
your day to day life? So
Woo!
how is that
Well,
transition?
I think, like I said, the hardest part was the trans. You know what I mean? Especially being my first kid, the hardest part was going through the 9 months with a female. You know what I mean? And recognizing, like I said, the depression and everything like that. We still had our fallouts. Don't get it wrong. We still like everybody else. We still have our fallouts and everything like that. But once the kid came, the real adjustment was the timing. You know what I mean? Because a person like me, I move around a lot. You know what I mean? And I had to learn that I have to make time for this one now. Time, you know what I mean? I had to adjust my life. The life I was living 43, 45 years, it has to be adjusted now. You know what I mean? Like, so just basically adjusting and working around his schedule now. You know what I mean? Was the main big thing. You know what I mean? You can figuring out when to go to sleep and when not to go to sleep. Like if he take a nap, okay, I need to be taking a nap right now, so in case he get up and stuff like that. It's just the things. The financial thing, the financial side of it. You know what I mean? The financial side of it. Okay, now I got to buy baby milk. Now I got to buy this, and now I got to buy that, and everything like that. The hospital visits. You know what I mean? It's just you know what I mean? It's really just adjusting your life to give him the better life or give them the better life. You feel me?
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing.
So what was that experience like? Like, were you present during the birth? Were
Oh
you
yeah, I was there.
so
You know, I
so
love my son. You know, this is my first, and I got exactly what I wanted. You know what I mean? So I'm more like, hey, I was there. I'm there for everything. You know what I mean? I'm there regardless. Period. You feel me? So
was it
that
the
really
whole
isn't the problem.
cutting the cord? Like, did you?
Yep,
That was so
that was
you.
nasty.
Ah!
That was nasty. That was nasty. I'm not one of those hospital like to see
Yeah.
blood and inside guts and stuff like that. So the whole experience for me was definitely an experience. I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat it or nothing. Even down to the pregnancy, you know what I mean? Me actually having to hold her leg up when she was having the baby, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I don't know what. Oh my goodness! And then when he came out, ooh, oh, I, I wasn't about to. I didn't faint anything. Hey, I stood in there like the man I'm supposed to be, but I didn't faint anything like that. But then they was like cut the umbilical cord. And the first time I hit it, I cut a little bit. So then and then we cut it and then stuff like that. But just to see them shape and form is a big deal. You know what I mean? Just to see what the personalities kick in. You know what I mean? Like, okay, he's gonna be a funny guy. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. It's crazy. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't trade it for the world. You know what I mean? The part is I don't want any more kids.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But this is my legacy, baby.
Yeah. All right, I got you. And you got to know where you are and what you want. And
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely do.
definitely. And I think it's powerful to be able to, I think that's one of the things that you mentioned as far as like being somewhat of the stepfather and seeing them kind of already at a somewhat of a stage of independence, right? Because even at 3, you can kind of go to the bathroom by yourself and do certain things. But to be able
See,
to see their evolution from that
man,
point, I know in the past 7 months, there's been significant
no
change.
father should miss that.
Yeah.
No father should miss that. And not to get off the subject, but to go into the issue of how society made it to the point of single families. You know what I mean? But no one has to be a single parent. It starts back to where know who you lying down with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Know who you lying down with, because our baby was not a sprung up baby. It was a decision.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I said, okay, I'm turning 46 this year. I need somebody to, you know what I mean, to leave, if anything happens, to leave my legacy to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was more of a decision. I didn't get one of those, oh, I'm pregnant. No, I didn't get one of those situations. So, but to experience, to even just see the experience, just to see where he went from then to now.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing, and I'm like, hey, boy, I never do this again. But you are the one.
I understand. And there's something about babies that just kind of, it's like the tangible form of possibility, right? Because what he's going to look like, or what he's going to become, like all of those things are still to be found out. But just to see all of the potential and the possibility, I think, that's definitely one of those beautiful aspects of being there early on.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah. So then, as far as like, do you feel like you have a village around you as far as the support that in raising the child?
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
I definitely feel like, you know what I mean, from her side and from my side, the love is there. You know what I mean? And especially with me, like I said, having my first kid at 46, everybody wants a piece of him. But the hard part about it is COVID. You know what I mean? I haven't really took him around no one other than my mother, the immediate family. I haven't took him around friends and everything like that because just the way the world is going right now. So that's the hard part when you were probably taking around everybody when you was born. You know what I'm saying? That's really the big hard part behind it. But nah, I ain't taking him. He'll be all right.
And again, it's very different right now. I mean, even just the experience of the birth itself, how different it is now in the hospitals because we're technically in the midst of a pandemic. So that's
Mm-hmm.
just a whole nother conversation because before, you can have people in the room, you can kind of have, things going on in and out, but it's very different. And like you said, just the heightened caution around having a newborn during the pandemic, it's a unique experience. I know my oldest is about to be 8, so what it took place back then is very different than
Yeah,
what's
then
going
what it's doing now.
on. Very much
Yeah,
so. So I
understand
know,
that.
yeah, and that's going to impact that whole village because you want them to have playmates. You want them to get together with cousins and friends, but in this space, it's kind of like, we'll see. We'll
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
that's a whole
So.
nother topic though. Right, I can go deep into that topic, but that's a whole nother topic. This world
it,
is crazy.
and we'll probably be able to have those conversations soon too, because it's a lot going on. So even from that perspective, around just certain things, like what are some of the highlight reels to the experience? I know you mentioned like you see his personality already. He seems to be have that fun, funny energy. What are some of the highlights so far of being a dad?
You know what's crazy? The love that I get when I come in the house. You know what I
Oh,
mean? As soon as I come in the house, he'll disperse from everybody. Like, they go dad. You know what I mean? And so it's like and just really seeing a mini you. You know what I mean? Really just seeing a mini you, and what in your mind, what you like, in my, I already know what he about to be. You know what I'm saying? I already know
uh-huh.
what I'm about to do with him. So you know what I mean. But just seeing him growing to, like I said, his personality into it get bigger. This boy getting big. You know what I mean? Like every day it seems like he's getting a little bit bigger. So it's just the smile. You know, the love, the love that baby gives you is unconditional. It's just like,
It's
you know what I
pure.
mean. I may not like him when he's a teenager, but you know what I mean. But as a baby, you know what I mean. It's just the love and the calmness. You know,
Hmm.
because I'm like I said, I'm a hyper person. I move around like, I gotta be here, do this, do this. He
Hmm.
calms me. He actually puts me to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Every time we grab him, so just being knowing that he there, pretty much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's definitely beautiful. Just that whole, yeah, the love, and
Yeah,
it is pure. There's no intention behind it. It's just
yeah. You know,
pure,
it's pure.
unconditional love. And you're gonna have to refer back to these times when they're a teen and they like kind of getting on your nerves. Like
Mm-hmm.
there was a time.
Mm-hmm. When they get a little personality of their own, yeah.
Yes. So just as far as on this journey, is there any kind of insight or encouragement? I know you dropped some real, good information in reference to knowing who you're with, as far as this co-parenting piece, and just the need for that foundation. Is there anything else that had you known, or you think, or you would even share with your child, your son, as he's coming up, to kind of prepare him to position? I know you also mentioned like the financial aspect of
Yeah,
what this whole fatherhood journey is. Anything else
yeah.
that you'd like to add on to that?
Well, my biggest thing is know who you lie with. I'm that comes down really to that. Know what type of person that you have next to you before you make a decision on however you choose to have sex. You know what I mean? Whether you want to have unprotected sex or protected sex, or have her on birth control, or any situation, know the person that you're lying with. You know what I mean? Um, it took me this long by choice. You know what I mean? It's because I wanted to make sure who I have a child with. You know what I mean? And I know every situation doesn't work out like that all the time, but you can gear yourself to try that way. You know what I mean? Like, so,
Yeah.
and luckily I made it this far. You know what I mean? And like I said, it became a choice. I had my choice. I didn't have nothing sprung on me, but even when it's sprung on you, you got to know the responsibility that lies ahead of you in having a child, period. You know what I mean? A lot of people not prepared for children. Right. A lot of people shouldn't have been in the relationship they were in. You know what I mean? And still lay down and had a child. And I say, as a man, once you know that you have a child, you have to be in that child's life as much as you can. And good thing I have a lot of friends around me with children that will fight to be in their child's life. You know what I mean? It's not, you need those experiences. He need those experiences with and it's funny because I heard she has a boy and 2 girls. I'm the only one who with the dad. And it's crazy. The youngest kid told him, like, you're the only one with a, you know what I mean, the whole family, you know what I mean, and not a single parent. Wow. And even though their fathers are still in the picture and everything like that, and stuff like that, but some people choose to be deadbeat dads. You know what I mean? Some people choose to be deadbeat moms. Yep. You know what I mean? Because it ain't always the dad's part. Like I said, a woman can drive you crazy. You know what I mean? In certain aspects, as well as a man. You know what I mean? But when the baby's involved, nothing should go in hand of using your baby as a tool. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because you don't know what experience you depriving them of. You know what I mean? You don't know what, you know what I mean? And then they grow up to hate their dad or hate their mom and stuff like this because some of the things that you're saying about their mom to them or their dad to them, you know what I mean? It's not, you got to know when to be a professional and a grown up about situations. A lot of people don't be grown up about the situation. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I don't care what we go through. It should never keep me from seeing my child. You know what I'm saying? Right. And that's, I think not by you not knowing what type of partner you have, that's why a lot of outplay comes that way. You know what I mean? Is because you don't even know who you're laying down with to have this child. You know what I mean? As a woman, and I'm actually against abortion. Mm-hmm. I'm against abortion. You know what I mean? Because I think everybody deserves a chance. But as a woman, like if I don't know if you've seen this though, when that woman it just came out too. Jake had sex with a woman in a hotel. He went in through the condom in the toilet, in the bathroom, and everything like that. She tried to go back there and put it up with her and burnt herself because he put hot sauce inside the condom to dissolve, call it. But see, that's the type of things I'm talking about. Some women have children for the wrong reasons. Mm-hmm. Some women have the wrong intentions of why they want a child. You know what I mean? Some really think it's still Barbie doll time. And not looking at the other aspects of real life. You know what I mean? Oh, he's just so the cuteness, but you still got to take care of this child. Like, you know what I mean? So if anything I tell a person is love your child. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, love them unconditionally as much as you can. You know what I mean? Get as much time in with them as you can. And just be there to provide for them. You know what I mean? And that's all you can really do in life. You know what I mean? You can't really force a relationship to work out. You know, nothing is guaranteed to last or nothing is guaranteed to stay together, but that part should never affect that part. You know what I mean? And pretty much that's all I can really say to him.
Well, that's a lot. And I think, like you said, that right there is everything, because chronological age doesn't necessarily represent maturity. You can be older and still, like you said, operating on some Barbie doll, or, you know, just not in the state of being that's necessary to, you know, grow a child and to rear them in a way that you're giving them the foundation that they need. But like you said, if the intention is that regardless of what, I'm going to be present, you know, whether I'm with her or whether she's with him, what have you, if the child is the priority and not your feelings or your traumas, and when we focus our energy here and just doing the best that we can, you know, I think that would absolutely make a world of difference. And no, I was not privy to that story, but I mean, like, I believe that's commonplace.
Even as a man, like I said, I had to, See, what a man's fear is adjustment. Mm. That's what a man's fear is adjustment. You know what I mean? And that's what every kid that piles on top of the next kid, on top of the next kid that you have. A man's fear is adjustment. You know what I mean? Because as our particular age, we were raised to be the house, the provider. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? In this age, anybody can be the provider. You know what I mean? And that's another adjustment that people had to make. You know, when they say men be jealous of women that make more money, man, go ahead. I'm gonna be there right with you, throwing my hands up, supporting the shit out you. You know what I mean? But
right.
It's really adjustment. It's adjustment. People don't want to give up their everyday lives for something they created.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's the hardest part of learning to bear children. You know what I mean? Or have children. Mm-hmm. You gotta adjust. You gotta make adjustments. You gotta, like, you see me, I fly out every 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Or I'm somewhere doing something every 10 minutes. But I had to slow down. Mm-hmm. I had to really like, damn, I got to slow down. But I'm not used to slowing down. You see what I'm saying? It's just like, okay, but now 7 months in, I'm pretty much, you know what I mean, adjusted, built the schedule around them now that I can be there, and you know what I mean, for the times that it be there and stuff like that. But yeah, I just think it's really about adjusting to this is your new life. And this is how it's going to be. You know what I mean? A lot of people fear that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, pretty much. I got to remember to keep looking at this thing.
Yeah, looking at the camera. We got you, though. So I think that's a great segue into just the whole, this is community. The purpose of this platform is community building. I want people to, you know, resonate with these stories, but also make connections, right? So part of who we are is some of the things that we have going on. I definitely want, because you do have a lot, I definitely want, you know, leave some time for you to kind of let us know what you have going on, promote what you have to promote, and let us know how to get in touch with you as well.
All right. So I do a lot of things. My hashtag is more than a DJ. That's funny. But I have a podcast / radio show. We're on Nerve DJs Radio. I'm actually a Nerve DJ. It's 1,500 DJs around the world. So I'm a Nerve DJ, and we deal with a lot of industry type things. So I have a show that I created myself. It's called Speaker Leakers Radio, and we have the radio, and we also have the live broadcast of the shows and we also have the podcast on Podbean. So, you know, all this, like, we broadcast live to stream to YouTube, just like you're doing. We broadcast live streams to everywhere, but we also included the Podbean for our podcast listeners, because you never know how many it's a lot of podcast listeners out there. You know what I mean? So we really just graduated into that. Also, we're going into TV this year. So we probably get a channel on Roku or something like that, or Around the Way or something like that. But trying to graduate into TV and make it more, we just want to be in your homes. You know what I mean? We just want to be a piece of what you watch through the day or listen through the day. We just want to be somewhere in your homes, because we know we have a lot of good information, a lot of good insight to give up, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. Also, outside of that part, we have a club downtown, you know what I mean, where we bringing in acts. We also are sponsored by Beam Satori Brands, which is Jim Beam, and that includes Cavassier, that includes Tres Generations, that includes Maker's Mark Brands. And you'll probably be the first person I'm telling this, but they also sponsored us to do a weekend of events for NBA All-Star Weekend, because it's in Cleveland this year.
Very nice.
So we'll be down there with doing that. You know what I mean? And we're the first show ever to be sponsored by a liquor company. You know, they're the third largest liquor company in the world. We're the first show in our area. I don't know about other areas, but we're the first show to be sponsored by a liquor company. Outside of that, you know me. We still have music we're making. We have I I got this album. It's down the Rick Ross lane. You know what I mean? It's more down. You know, we older, so we talk about more polished stuff. I don't get all into the shooting and hurrah stuff like that. You know what I mean? I'm more touch on facts. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So I'm still making the music. I'm still doing what I used to do, and just making everything that I had, everything that I knew how to do, work for the next project. You know what I mean? Like the music, the radio, and the shows and stuff pays for the artistry. The DJs pays for the artistry. The artistry pays for the DJ. You know what I mean? Just utilizing all the God-given talents that God gave me, and just hope that one of them pop. You know what I mean? So that's basically what we got going on. You know what I mean? But if y'all want to follow us, y'all can Figure Lickers worldwide. If you Google us, you'll find us on everything. You know what I mean? And DJ
I'm gonna make it easy for them. I'm gonna just put it down in the description so they can click on it and get there.
Yeah, and then DJ Laylo on everything. So you know what I mean. We just try to simplify a lot of things so it ain't hard to find us. You know what I mean. Try to just keep it real simple, but we keep changing it.
Absolutely, ever evolving. I just want to, I appreciate you taking the time. I do know that.
I appreciate you too.
And I love what you're doing. I'm grateful we could reconnect, like known you over 20 years. So
yeah, for real. Yeah, that's the crazy part. You know what I mean?
If you all found value from this conversation, please share. Like, subscribe, check out the links, go to his information, and share. So thank you all. Share. Family.